And this seventh bout is presented by Mad Tatter Tattoo. It's 0-1 Seth Boswell out of Savannah, Tennessee, taking on Darren Turbo Smith.
Now, these are a couple of characters here. Look at this.
Yeah, Seth doesn't have the look you normally expect. You don't expect the glasses necessarily, but hey, they'll come off, and Darren Smith has the hair color.
Well, and you've got Boswell. He's got that Doc Holliday style Fu Manchu going on as well, you know. So
looking forward to this, and of course Darren Smith out of Dayton, Tennessee. All right, to the cage for fighter introductions. Here is Cody Gwynn.
All right, Chattanooga, Tennessee, are you ready to get back to your MMA card here tonight? I think we have some people still trick-or-treating. Are you guys ready for your next fight? We're going to get back to action here in the featherweight division, brought to you by Mad Tatter Tattoo. At this time, please welcome to the cage, fighting out of the Hogs red corner, Seth Boswell.
Seth Boswell, our first fighter to come out in this featherweight bout at 145. It's Seth the Shark Boswell out of Cobra Fitness in Savannah, Tennessee, the 25-year-old. Started training in high school. Casey, what do you think about Seth Boswell and Darren Turbo Smith?
Well, of course, Boswell, he's coming out. He's the Shark, but he is currently 0-1 out of Cobra Fitness. But, man, you know, he has the look. We were talking about it. He's got the Doc Holliday Fu Manchu. He's a character, and as is his opponent tonight, Darren Turbo Smith. And I'm anxious to see why they call him Turbo. He's a debut, so we've never seen him before.
Well, Turbo is also in that Jeremiah Gurley, Jesse Grun camp, and we've seen some fighters from there already earlier tonight, and of course the extensive wrestling background for Darren Smith. Explosive teammates compared him to Jonathan Pierce. You talk about a compliment. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what can you say about Jonathan Pierce? The kid has gone from from the bottom all the way to the top in Valor fights. You know, he started out here and he's moved forward. Possibly we're going to see a second coming of that. That means he has to have tremendous wrestling, and he has to be able to move forward and strike his behind off, because that's exactly what Jonathan Pierce says. That's a tall order there.
Darren, tell me what you think about this in terms of a fighter mentality. Smith says, I don't focus on opponents. I focus on myself. Every opponent is a stepping stone. We'll have you react to that in 1 second. Back to the cage and Cody Gwynn.
Now, please welcome his opponent, fighting out of the OEB blue corner, Darren Smith.
So what do you think of the mentality, Casey, as Darren Smith comes out, focusing on yourself as opposed to your opponent?
Oh, I think wholeheartedly. That's a great school of training. When you go into fight, when you start thinking about your opponent and what he's going to do to you, then what you're doing is you're letting him lead the dance. You know what I mean? You know, he's going to have to adapt to what you're doing. That is a great, excellent philosophy there. Go out there and implement what you do. Your opponents are all going to be different. They're going to be doing different things. They're going to be doing different things from what you've seen in the videos of their previous fights.
Take a look at the tail of the tape. Boswell at 0-1 has that one fight advantage in terms of experience. Darren Smith, 4 years younger than Boswell, 2 inches taller, and weighed in 4 pounds heavier than Seth Boswell in this featherweight bout at 145.
Well, on paper, Darren Smith has it all. As an ace in a hole here. Of course, coming out of MMA Institute, he's ahead of the game already. But in addition to that, he's got the height advantage. He's got the weight advantage, and he definitely, from what we're hearing, he's got the reputation to back it up.
Yeah, and great work, too, with being trained by Jeremiah Gurley and Jesse Grun as well.
Kind of has that Jonathan Pierce look. Look at him. Same swagger.
Yeah. Has maybe Sid Wheeler hair, too. It's
it's funny we should mention Jonathan Pierce, because I equate him to Michael Myers. Anytime I watch him fight, I've trained with him, dude. He is just like Michael Myers out of the Halloween movies, man. He just comes forward emotionless, but, dude, he is calculated.
Well, that's what you want. All right, Darren Smith is in the cage for our official introductions. Here's Cody Gwynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout will be in the Valor Fights Featherweight division, brought to you by Mad Tatter Tattoo. When the action begins, your referee in charge of this bout is Jimmy Neely. And he's choosing first, fighting under the Hogs red corner. He enters the cage tonight with a record of 0 wins with 1 defeat. He weighed in 143 pounds, fighting out of Cobra Fitness in Savannah, Tennessee, Seth Boswell. Standing across cage tonight, fighting out of the OEBE blue corner tonight. He makes his MMA debut. He weighed in 147 pounds, fighting out of MMA Institute in Dayton, Tennessee, Darren Turbo Smith.
Jimmy Neely, our referee. It's Seth Boswell at 0-1 in the red trunks, taking on Darren Smith in the black shorts. It's a featherweight bout at 145 presented by Mad Tatter Tattoo. We are underway. 3-minute rounds, amateur MMA.
Okay, well, with a name like Turbo, you don't want to blink here. Look at this. Right out of the gate, these guys are throwing.
Back to the middle of the cage. And
you know, Seth Boswell, he's got that chin up in the air. He's just waiting to get picked off. If he's not careful, it could be curtains for him here. But he does have the guillotine choke sunk in momentarily. But Darren Smith, he slips it and proceeds to unleash that barrage of ground and pound there.
not sure if he's gotten a clean shot in, as Boswell has blocked some of them. Boswell on the bottom and Smith on top. Boswell, look, he tried to slip out, moving his hips.
Needs to watch dropping that right leg to the ground. You know, Darren Smith's going to be able to pass his guard at will if he's not tight with the guard. You can tell right now that Darren Smith has a tight top game.
And now full guard again for Boswell.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Boswell looking for the arm bar. Not quite there, and he gets power bombed for his efforts.
Straight left and then a right hook from
Oh, nice
Smith.
knee there by Darren Smith. But props to Seth Boswell. He's an 0-1 competitor, but he's making a game performance here, a game showing for himself. And he's tucking that chin is something I like there. Maybe he took a hard shot and
another tremendous slam.
and goes for a ride, but ends up in his guard yet again in the guillotine position. You know, this is something that, in my opinion, Boswell needs to go after there. You know, if he were to be a little quicker, closing that guard and hitting that guillotine, he might be able to gain the submission.
How tight do you think this is, Casey?
Not very.
Yeah.
Not very. The angle's not there. And Boswell's so loose with his guard, you know. I mean, the only time you want to be that loose is if you're moving and transitioning your hips, and that's not the case here.
See Boswell with wrist control with his right, and then
looking for possibly the triangle, but his angle's not going to be there. And Darren Smith, he's posturing too high.
They're going to need to be a little bit more active, especially Smith here, if he wants to maintain this position.
He was trying to transition to an armbar. That could possibly be tied here.
For it again. Smith trying to separate.
Oh, here we go. We got the slam, and the slam didn't do the trick. This could be bad. This could be a bad position here for Darren Smith if he doesn't defend this arm lock. Number three times the charm.
Final
and
10
Boswell
seconds.
still holds on to this armbar. Is it going to be enough to score the round?
Smith looks like he's going to survive,
Wow.
and he does with Boswell in the air.
And a beautiful photo finish there by Boswell. Whether he wins the fight or not, he's going to have a beautiful picture to take home.
Just hanging Boswell up like he's a fish he just pulled in for the ocean.
Man, props to Boswell. You know, Darren Smith's really got to watch. You can tell he's the better athlete. He's, you know, in as far as conditioning-wise and so forth. But, man, he's really got to watch those submissions, man, because if Boswell would have twisted his hips or tweaked just a little bit, he could have finished that round.
So who do you give that round to? It's tough because they both had their moments.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and give it to Darren Smith just because he was so dominant. But it's hard to that's the last thing the judges see right there. That might have stole the round for Seth Boswell, but of course he is taking three to four slams on his head,
right.
At the same time.
Well,
so.
how do the judges balance that? I mean, because
Yeah.
Boswell's on the bottom, but he has that near submission move.
Well, they're going to be judging it the same way I'm judging it here. I don't know, I mean, if you tend to judge towards the submission guy, you might give it to Boswell.
First two shots, a combination
Oh,
stuck.
nice shot there by Boswell. He's actually coming out here and performing gamely, a lot better than I assumed he would.
Down goes
He takes
Boswell.
a hard shot, though, right there. And he could be in trouble. Hands back up at his guard. Now, that's been a good spot for him so far tonight.
Well, been able to be offensive
look
from
at
it.
this.
Oh,
Now
big
Darren
shot.
Smith's going crazy on him.
This might be close to
Yeah,
being stopped,
that's
and there it is.
Done. A done deal, man. Props to Darren Smith. And you know what? Hats off to Seth Boswell. A good attempt.
Turbo kicked in, and Darren Smith gets the win in his amateur MMA debut. An onslaught in the second round in the early seconds as Boswell is getting some medical attention.
I believe his corner possibly got after him a little bit after that armbar attempt in round 2.
Let's take a look at the replay on the finish
just
here.
relentless. Looked like he almost had a collar tie to start it off and landed one shot after another. Big win there by Darren Smith in his mixed martial arts debut. And he does favor Jonathan Pierce somewhat. Coming into this,
Boswell's up. You can see the disappointment in his face. And hey, you see a shot of it there. Boswell had a good first round, but could not survive the onslaught from Darren Turbo Smith out of Dayton, Tennessee, and the fans here loved it. And look at Boswell wants Smith to come over and wants to shake his hand. Good show of sportsmanship there. Boswell still trying to recover a little bit with his corner there. And hugs for Darren Smith's camp. It's Jeremiah Gurley, Jesse Grunn training Darren Smith, and he equipped himself well here tonight. And Boswell is up, and we go to the cage. Our official decision introduction here is announcement. Here's Cody Gwynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jimmy Lee has called a stop to this fight. 28 seconds into the second round. Your winner by TKO, Darren Turbo